right into the Jack Hermansson and Edmen Shahbazyan fight. I mean, if you watched our show with Edmen Shahbazyan and Derek Brunson, that was a call that we did make. That was an official pick as well in the pick'em. It's the well-roundedness, right? Unfortunately, even if you look back at that fight, those odds are absolutely ridiculous. Edmen Shahbazyan is a phenomenal striker, lifelong striker, right? Despite being so young, there's very, very clear tapes of him fighting from a very young age under.
Head movement, good job, Jeff. More, please.
But at the same time, I think that Jack Hermansson is, still flirting with that top level fighters. He's looked so good, even against a guy like Marvin Vettori. I think that outside of that first round that he kind of looked really out of place, he kind of brought it back, right? I think that he utilized some of Marvin Vettori's lack of energy in the later rounds. Jack Hermansson, one thing he's got going for him is cardio. I think that we see him do so well when he has to go 3 rounds. And if the striking is kind of the primary issue for him, we obviously know he's a great ground fighter, right? So for Edmen Shahbazyan, it's all about avoiding those opportunities. Now, when you think about some of those stats, I kind of want to take a look here because I honestly believe that this is a huge fight for Jack Hermansson. When you think about where he came from with the Kevin Gastelum finish, there's opportunities there against ex-champions. Now, I believe Derek Brunson's a top 3 middleweight at this point, and Edmen Shahbazyan was well on his way, just finishing absolutely everyone. Now he's 11-1. Looking at a guy like Jack Hermansson. Now, when you look at some of the numbers, the takedown defense, takedown accuracy, Jack Hermansson doesn't actually have that great high takedown accuracy. 34% versus 75% defense. I think that Shahbazyan's obviously going to want to keep this fight standing, but I think that Hermansson's an underrated striker, man. He's very economic in terms of landing, 5 strikes per minute versus, getting hit 3.4, 5, 4, 6. So I really think that based on his well-rounded abilities in a fight where he's going against a guy where there's a game plan, right? I think that Derek Brunson exploited a lot of things, and unless you believe that someone's able to improve for that long, which I believe that long of a camp is what you're working on, that's the way to do it, right? I don't think there's anything you can possibly do at this point to not focus on a similar game plan, because when you think about the striking, it's just, are you getting that good to kind of compete with a kid who's very much shown that he can stand with the best fighters? I think that's where you just have to keep giving this kid a taste of that MMA medicine till it gets to, that MMA well-rounded ability of like the rest of these guys in that top 5 to top 10. Now, Jack Hermansson's a guy that's seen some tough goes, right? I don't know if it's an opportunity more so for, Edmen Shahbazyan than it is for Jack Hermansson, obviously, right? I think that you're obviously supplanting a big-time prospect who's ranked in the top 15, but Jack Hermansson's looking for a bounce-back fight in some ways, right? We need him to look for something similar to that Gastelum fight, which, seems like ages ago after that Marvin Vettori loss. Now, he was supposed to fight him back in, a week ago. These guys have been training for each other for a while now. I think that that's actually quite amazing that we're going to get to see another matchup where guys are getting to train for each other a little bit longer. It should spell for a good fight. I think that Hermansson should have an edge here. There's no reason to believe that you wouldn't give a guy who has a little bit more of that grappling advantage against a guy who's been exploited for that, despite being such a great striker. Some power ability, but, Jared Cannonier is a big-time power guy, and I think that's a guy who, if you're getting knocked out by him, it's not a big deal. Now, that's who Jack Hermansson's kind of dealing with. Edmen Shahbazyan, maybe technical side, if he's able to get in there and really showcase some of that striking, different story, I think Jack Hermansson has some good length here, and he fights long, which is going to help him a lot. Now, let's take a look at the lines, because I really do have to give Jack Hermansson the lean here without question. And there it is, open as a -160. Edmen Shahbazyan comes in at +140. Hasn't really changed that much. I think Jack Hermansson's still floating around that -150 to -160, but you got Edmen coming in around +125, +130. I think that there is some value on Jack Hermansson here. I think that experience-wise, there's a lot to be learned when you get to this level of fighter. The top 10 in the most divisions at this point now are just a different, different level of beast, and I think that Jack Hermansson can showcase just how good he is in a fight where he knows that he's facing such a good striker that is in the process of becoming a better, well-rounded MMA fighter. Now, if you look at that one, it could go either way, right? Guy gets a good shot in. If you're an Edmen Shahbazyan fan, this is the one where head movement, if that's your thing, get it done. I think Jack Hermansson has a good opportunity here, though, to keep his top 5 rating, if not move up just a bit, because I think he's ranked number 6 right now versus on the UFC rating. So big fight for him in that sense, but monsters in that weight class. So he's definitely got